whilst the personality vehicle, the personhood, the unique pattern that you're born into and express through, with all its individuations, whilst that is not erased in the awakening process, whether that awakening is gradual or seemingly sudden, there's still a you that remains. There is still a unique you that remains. So whilst that is not erased, those characteristics, those traits of that personhood, of that personality, that were consciously or unconsciously, mostly, used as a prop for identity, those are likely to come tumbling down. In fact, they do come tumbling down, otherwise there's no awakening. Yeah? In other words, you are no longer identified by your preferences, your characteristics. Yeah, you're no longer identified by that. In other words, you are not imprisoned by those preferences. You are not imprisoned by your personality characteristics. Yeah, you do not identify yourself with being an introvert or an extrovert. You may have a leaning towards, a tendency towards being one or the other. But in awakening out of the dream of self, you are really not one nor the other. You respond to life organically, which means there are times when it is appropriate, when it is natural and intelligent response, organic response, to seemingly on the surface be more introverted or seemingly on the surface be more extroverted. But you are neither. Or whatever else it might be, a preference for. So the personality shell, stops being a prison wall that identifies you from its behavior, from its characteristics, from its expression, from its likes and dislikes, which are mostly in the unconscious state used as a way to identify the self and then put into further practice or showmanship, if you like, in response to how others respond to you. Yeah? If people know you as an extrovert, then the ego self will prop up, will strengthen that part through its behaviors, through its actions, through its expression, in order to be liked by others, to belong, to be accepted, to be approved of. That's part of the matrix of conditioning. In freedom, all of that, or most of that, falls away. You are free to act and respond appropriately, relevantly, organically, naturally to the moment. And that is fluid. In one moment, you may turn away from being in a social environment. In another moment, you may revel in it. Yeah? But none of it has any impact on who you really are. Not who you really are, but what you really are. The light of being. Which means when circumstances arise, whether it's through the loss of physical energy, whether it's an illness or just the way life is turning, the tides are always turning. Yes, everything is revolving. Yes, a time to go inwards, a time to be quiet, a time to be solitary, or a time to be outgoing, to give yourself, to collaborate, and so on, to be in the marketplace. There's a time for everything. So in freedom, that turning of the tides is given to willingly. Everything is welcomed because everything changes. And none of it that keeps moving and changing is who you are. Who you are is the light of being amidst it, at the center of it. Remember, you become the center of beingness, of being. Everything else, the movement of your life, the expression of your personality, that's always in motion. So the personality self in awakening becomes more fluid, more permeable, less rigid, and less imprisoned by its preferences. There are natural preferences. But if that preference is not fulfilled, it doesn't break you or shake you, because who you are is not that.